What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Shonen Showdown. Today, I am here with the great. It's Dang. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to do this My Hero Academia list today.
Listen, we are going to be looking at the Class 1A characters in My Hero Academia. We're going to be ranking them on how great of heroes they are, but also on how strong they are. Let's get right into it. All right, so first up, we have Tokuyami. He's in between S and A for me because obviously he was able to land a big time attack on Rideshro, and we know Rideshro was boxing against Shigaraki. But again, it was pre-no move boost Shigaraki, so we can't get out of control. But I still think Tokuyami is still a tough contender.
I'm definitely saying A here. I feel like S has to be reserved for one special character I know you guys all know. He definitely has a lot of firepower in his quirk, his Dark Shadow quirk, and a lot of versatility with stealth and recon, but I just don't think he has that it factor.
We're gonna throw him in the A tier. I'm actually comfortable with that. Next up, we have Rikido Sado Sugar Rush quirk. How am I feeling? C tier. I want to see more from Rikido Sado because obviously we can look at the physical specimen that he is. He's very, very strong. He was able to help restrain a Gigantomachia. That's not a small feat, but outside of that, what did he really do during the operation? For me, it was not a lot.
He's kind of just a juiced guy. He has to take a bit of sugar, you know? When I'm looking at all the other characters, I don't think he really stands up to them.
You're with me. You're with me on the C tier.
I'm with the C. I'm with the C, but not like a high C.
Let's throw him right in the C tier then. Next up, we got Shoji. This is the Duple Arms quirk wielder. I want to put him right next to Rikido Sado. Honestly, we know that as a hero, we can look at him using his ears, and he can also multiply his arms as well for boxing. Really, my thing is, I want to look at the operation. That's where you really see which students from Class 1A have been in the gym. And for me, I did not get to see Shoji really show out.
I definitely agree. His quirk is definitely useful and like recon, like you said, so he can hear from far distances. He literally has eyes behind his head, but he hasn't shown anything.
See it up, man. Put him right in the C. Next up, we got my guy Shoto Todoroki. I think you have to throw Todoroki in the S. I think him really looking into himself and saying, you know what, if I have a Tetsu before me, even though he's a metal quirk wielder, I can still boost up my flames to a heat so powerful, so high that Tetsu has to worry about it. I'm seeing somebody that is fighting against his brother Toya, aka Dabi, who has been stated to have stronger flames than Endeavor, and he's still hanging in there going 1v1.
I definitely agree, honestly. Fire, ice, he can combine them as well. And when you just pair him against anyone else here, except for the obvious choices, right? He kind of just solos all of them.
Let's do it, man. Shoto Todoroki, S tier. All right, so next up, we have Kota from Class 1A.
I mean, he's just like Snow White, you know? Or like Giga nerfed Chino. So he kind of just speaks to animals, tells animals to get information, you know, that it's like the basic stuff. He can't really fight. He's useful, but do I want to put him on C?
When you're looking at combat, it's just as you said. You're not looking at Kota to help box anybody. Any villains pull up looking for a 1v1 or anything like that, get Kota out of there. But if we're talking about, I want to find out if we can save as many people as possible, you look to Kota because he has birds going around the place, finding people that need to be rescued within the city. And that's very important. So on the rescuing aspect of him being a hero, I think I should bump him up to a C, but I don't know, because his fighting is really D tier.
You do bring up a good point. I completely forgot that you can actually just do that. Yeah, I think that's a deserving C tier, actually.
Let's do it, man. C tier. Next up, we got Bakugo, man.
Honestly, S. His firepower is just too much for anyone else in this class. Bakugo did mention that he can keep up with Deku in his like 10 to 15% form. He did land like some pretty big damage on Shigaraki.
Even in that Class 1A versus Class 1B tournament, he carried his team. Outside of Jiro, I mean, everybody else is pretty much non-existent. Let's do it right now. Bakugo and S. Next up, we have Kyoka Jiro. This is earphone jack quirk. I've been on the record saying that Jiro is one of the most underrated students in Class 1A. Her ability to use sound shockwaves in battle is very unique, and we've seen that when she literally was helping Bakugo. But if we even look towards the operation, Jiro's clearly been in the gym because she's been using her powers to help prepare the students for Gigantomachia. Remember, not many people knew Gigantomachia was a thing or what was gonna happen with that. Jiro was one of the first people to listen through the ground and hear the vibrations and say, something is not right. Everybody get ready. For me, when I'm looking at Jiro, I think Jiro's a great all-around student. I'm thinking about B tier.
I am so glad you said that she is incredibly underrated, because I also agree with that. But the fact that she can hear from massive distances, she can just plug her little earphones into a building, right? And can just hear everyone. She has like some abilities to defend herself as well. She's just a great all-rounder.
Let's definitely throw her in the B tier, man. Jiro, that's solid, honestly. Next up, we have Aoyama, naval laser quirk.
F tier, easy. He's a one-trick pony that doesn't do his job as well as anyone else.
You know what's upsetting about that, Dang? He has a decent quirk. His quirk is not terrible. He made Dabi, he made Spinner or whoever really duck down and have to hide behind Gigantamakia. I don't think it's a weak quirk. I just think Aoyama is trash. Next up, we have Tenya Iida. Even though there's certain instances where I feel like he's been able to hang with certain class members that are of S tier status, he hasn't reached that height for me. There's certain opponents that I've seen him box against, specifically Mudman, where I think you should have had that on lock. When I'm looking at class 1B, I'm thinking Iida is supposed to be one of those front runners that's supposed to be like, I don't care if you're in class 1B, you still have a ways to go before you get on my level. And I didn't really get that from him.
It's tough because I do remember Deku mentioning that his speed was faster than Gran Torino himself. When he kicks, it packs a punch, obviously, because he's going that fast. But when you look at the people at S, I find it pretty hard for him to really put up a good fight. So I think high A, mid A, probably a good spot for him.
Next up, we have Mina Ashido. Mina is that character where I've always kind of had in the middle of the pack, but there was one feat that she showed during the operation which really stood out to me, and that was the fact that she showed us Acid Man armor that was able to tank Dabi's flames. Dabi's flames are stronger than Endeavor's, but then again, outside of that one feat, how was Ashido really moving in the operation?
Blocking flames from Dabi himself, pretty crazy, but that's like such a situational moment that I'm not sure like if Bakugo punches her in the face with an explosive punch, what's gonna happen. In terms of utility, she's up there, you know, poison, yeah, B tier for sure.
All right, let's throw her right in the B tier, man. Next up, we have Momo Yaoyorozu.
Okay, so I think that she is absolutely nuts as a support character. If you really think about it, she has near unlimited power scaling on her quirk because it's just based off of knowledge itself. So let's say they just find a material somewhere that can block an All Might punch, right? She just studies up on that a little bit, boom, she got All Might resistance armor. The way she uses her quirk, I feel like is completely wrong because she uses it during battle. She should definitely use it before.
I don't disagree with anything you said. A lot of the pro heroes looked to a Momo during Gigantomachia's takedown. Midnight, Mount Lady, you know, these are pro heroes that are turning to the direction of Yaoyorozu and trying to figure out what can we do to get the job done, and she had to lead the front. Which tier are we throwing Momo in?
I can't put her in S. As crazy as her abilities are, the moment Todoroki, Bakugo, Deku, she's just getting absolutely bodied. I'm sorry.
Let's do it. Listen, I agree with A tier. Next up, we have Kirishima. This is Red Riot Unbreakable. That's the first thing I think of when I say Kirishima's name. One of the greatest defensive fighters in Class 1A, hands down. He literally tanked a direct hit from Gigantomakia. How many people in this class can do that? Let's be serious. But is he S?
S is, I don't know. Like, you look at the guys at S, I think he just gets bodied, right? I think A is a good spot. He's a perfect tank, but other than that, he doesn't pack much firepower.
I actually completely agree about throwing him in the A tier. Next up, we have Denki Kaminari, man. This is my guy. I think he has one of the most powerful quirks, low-key, in Class 1A. When the pro heroes were in trouble, there was a whole bunch of Class 1A students that they left behind. They purposely took Denki Kaminari from them because they needed him on the charge. He was able to literally absorb a top-tier attack from one of the Liberation Army's greatest electric type users. Listen, there's still questions about Denki's confidence, but that really has to do more with his mentality rather than his ability. This might be a high ball, but I have Denki in the A tier.
I gotta say A too. He's definitely A. Like you said, he tanked an entire blast of pure power into him by one of the main villains of the story, right?
Right.
And the only reason why I'm kind of like teetering whether high A, low A is a massive drawback that comes with his power. Because if he just goes full on, full power, right? He just afterwards he just loses all brain power.
So let's definitely throw him in the A. Next up, we have Asui. I think Froppy is very underrated. I think she's one of the greatest support heroes in Class 1A. Clearly, we've seen her save people on multiple occasions, not just rescuing citizens, but also rescuing her own classmates. She helped Ochaco in her fight against Toga. She helped Shinzo in their battle during the Class 1A and Class 1B tournament. 1v1 scenarios, I have questions. I have her in the B tier.
Her little poison excrement has like 3 different abilities. She's got the camouflage ability, which is really good for like stealth and recon. And her tongue has some combat ability as well. But the thing is, I think she's just so situational. She needs like the right terrain to be a good character.
I'm with you as far as in the water, she's A. Outside of that though, I mean, I have her in the middle of the pack. I have her as a B. Where you have her at?
Thinking like a C+.
Oh!
I see. Her combat ability is just not there either.
See, my thing is if we're looking at Jiro and Mina in the B tier, personally, I think Tsuyu can be in that conversation. Rikido Sato and, listen, we have Kota in C. Listen, Tsuyu is definitely above Kota. All right, the bottom of B. Let's do that. The bottom of B. I'm fine with that. Next up, we have Sero.
He is the Spider-Man of My Hero. He uses tape to swing around buildings, capture enemies. I don't think he's great, but in terms of utility, he's there for sure. Is he top C, low B?
I don't have him near B at all. I have him down with Kota and them boys, man. For B potential, you have to actually help out Bakugo during the tournament.
That is true. That is true.
You know what I mean?
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
The best feat that Sero had for me was he was helping hold down Gigantomachia. But again, everybody in the class was playing tug of war with Gigantomachia's neck at that point. So, I mean, you can't just give credit to Sero alone.
So I can definitely see him like high C and potential to land in B if he ever gets better.
I'm cool with that. Let's put him in the high C. Next up, we have Deku. This is an automatic S tier. Danger Sense was unlocked. The Black Whip was going crazy against Shigaraki. And this is not low-key Shigaraki. This is the cheese souped up. Dr. Garaki went in the lab and boosted him up to the moon. And Deku was holding his own against this type of Shigaraki. Deku is definitely top of S right now.
I almost want to put him in his own tier because he's just like a head above everyone else in his class. It's actually nuts.
Next up, we have Mineta. When I speak about this character, I get upset.
F, man. I don't care what you say about his abilities. His mentality is not there. He just runs away with everything.
Next up, we have Ojiro. As a martial artist, he's great. We know he has the quirk tail. Outside of that, Ojiro's a bum. Throw him right in the bottom tier with the rest of the trash. As a martial artist, I think that he has to step it up even more. There's no reason why you're fighting in the Class 1A, Class 1B tournament and Kaibara literally is outclassing you in every way, shape, and form. I mean, he had no shot whatsoever. Then you're looking at the operation against the League of Villains and the Liberation Army. Where was he? He did absolutely nothing. Not shocked. It's Ojiro. The one good thing that we have recently in our memory was when he was boxing in that Big 3 exercise with Class 1A going up against the Big 3 heroes of UA, and he was able to create a small opening by boxing Amajiki so Deku could get inside. That's it.
He is the 10-10 of My Hero. I'm saying it right here. He has the lamest quirk. I think if you even look at his wiki, he has 2 attack moves.
Next up, we have Toru Hagakure. This is Invisible Girl, man. Another dud. She had her one moment where she used her warp refraction technique against Nejire in that Big 3 exercise, and that was nice. That was cool. It stunned Nejire for about 0.3 milliseconds or whatever the case may be. So how fast that was, who knows? Who cares? Because outside of that, where was she? What did she do during the operation?
It's like a diet Froppy, you know? It's Froppy with like no abilities. He's got the whole invisibility thing, but Asui got the camouflage, which is basically the same thing. And her warp refraction is just a flashbang. Even Bakugo just pulling out of his pocket and toss one up anytime he wants.
Next up, we have Ochaco, man. I think she's great. After she learned martial arts from Gunhead, she really moved up my list for me. And definitely in situations where she has to rescue people, that's where she's really best. I think she's S tier in regards to rescuing people. Not overall, Where do you have her, Dang?
Probably right beside Asui.
I have her in the A tier currently. Let me see if I can convince you. The first person I'm thinking of is Toga. When you're looking at the League of Villains, not many people were able to unlock their quirk awakening. She was. And if you're fighting against a Toga who awakened their quirk, who was causing havoc for the Liberation Army at one point in time, I gotta give you a little bit of hype for your martial arts techniques. And I think her float quirk was very useful, not only just in saving people, but helping her fight as well against some top tier opponents. Asui in that situation wasn't really the front runner in the fight. It really was Ochaco versus Toga, and Asui was playing the support role.
I can definitely see that, but I never really found Toga to be that type of 1v1 duelist. She's the one that kind of just creates chaos. So in a 1v1 situation, I never found her to be incredible.
Let's throw her in the B tier, man. Let's throw her in the B tier. All right, so this is almost our final list, but we have to make sure they're in the right order. Yeah, the S tier looks good. How are you thinking about the A tier though? Is there anybody you want to move around?
You think Iida can be lower here?
I personally will put Momo above almost everybody.
I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to say it because I know I'm gonna ruffle some feathers here, she's not a combat character.
Yeah, I would put Momo above everybody. Let's just do that real fast. Tokoyami obviously offensively is above everybody, but Momo is definitely overall better when it comes to being a full hero, the full package. Looking at the B tier now, how are we feeling?
Honestly, it looks pretty good. I wouldn't really move too much around.
C tier?
Sato has to be at the end.
Oh, Sato underneath Kota.
Yeah.
It's dang, it's going crazy. I'm with it though. Let's do it.
he's kind of just juiced if you really think about it.
Yeah,
he's just juiced.
And now let's go to the bottom feeders, man. How are we feeling in the D tier?
Looks about right. Well, Invisible Girl should be a bit higher, I think. Tail guy's just so useless.
So you're putting Toru over Ojiro?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Because she can at least do some recons work, right?
The Ojiro disrespect is crazy. But I love it. I'm here for it. All right, guys, so this is our final tier list. Let us know down in the comment section below if you guys agree or disagree with any of these takes. And again, shout out to It's Dang. Make sure you guys follow his YouTube channel. Lock in.
Thank you.
Has some great anime content. And with that, we'll see you guys next time, man. Peace.